I'm a robot vacuum cleaner, so yeah, I got one gig. I suck up dirt, so pardon my inferiority complex about Geico, who does so much more. Like, not only could they save their customers money on car insurance, but they got fast and friendly claim service too, and an award-winning mobile app. Plus access to licensed agents 24/7. Who am I kidding? I can't even do corners. Uh-oh, choking hazard.
Popcorn kernels.
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
Working our way through a Friday morning. Glad you're with us on Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests will join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. By the way, call us in too at 860-506-5505 and leave your hashtag Real Golic question. Once again, 860-506-5505.
Got a new guy here, and I hate him.
Yeah, what's going on there?
It's unbelievable.
What happened?
Got this new dude here, Carmine. He's, 22?
Yeah,
22 years
young.
old. Looks like he's 12. I think he glued on this chin strap beard that he's got. So, Carmine, how you doing? Go ahead and say hi to everybody.
Good.
All right. So Carmine, tell everybody why I don't like you.
So I know Mike Golic Jr. played at Notre Dame, but I did not know Mike Sr. played in the NFL.
Wow.
I mean,
wow.
I don't
It's
even.
not like he was on the practice squad for 2 years. He was a part of arguably one of the greatest defensive lines in the history of the game.
When were you born?
1995.
Don't go there. It's not worth it.
1995, a year after my youngest in Sydney.
Yeah.
And you had no idea that I played in the NFL. What did you know about me when you knew you were going to come work on this show? Oh, Mike Golic, Trey Wingo. Mike Golic, I know this about him.
Great radio host.
Well, way to save it. Way to save it. By the way, did you know I played? Do you know anything about my playing career?
Golf doesn't count.
I never played.
Looking at me at all, and I don't think I look like this, but did you think I was an athlete at all and wonder if I played a sport? Push a button. Try it again.
Yeah, absolutely. I knew you were an athlete.
But you had no idea what I did.
No.
Get out. Just get out.
Can we seamlessly move on to something else?
Holy smokes! There's something.
You know what I bet?
I want to. There's something about his face. I want to punch him right in the face.
Well, please don't, because then I'd be looking for a new host, a co-host. So that would be bad.
I bet nobody said that about Howie Long.
No one did.
Boy, I don't know. He played in the NFL.
Everyone knows. I don't know. He might not have. He always give me a thumbs up. He knew Howie Long played.
Oh, yeah.
Well, congratulations. Good for you. Good for you. And,
wow.
And on that seamless introduction.
What a lasting impression.
As this hour of Golic and Wingo is brought to you by La Quinta Inns and Suites, and they may be regretting that at this point. Book at LQ.com and win at business. We're winning, but no one is winning more than our next guest. Hall of Famer, Pro Football Hall of Famer Howie Long joins us now on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Howie, first of all, thanks for being with us. One of the shots of the weekend last week was you at Philadelphia for the NFC Championship game, because it was a game on Fox. There, watching your son go to a second straight Super Bowl, and afterwards holding your grandson Waylon. We're talking about winning. I'm not sure it gets much better than that.
No, it doesn't get any better. As Mike, as you know, the grandkids are. It's pretty amazing to have him on the field, and Kyle was there, and I think he's 4 weeks off neck surgery, so it was nice to have him there, and Diane and Megan, and to watch the whole thing unfold, because last year I wasn't at the AFC Championship game because we obviously do the NFC Championship game, and to have the opportunity to be at the championship game, which obviously leads them to the Super Bowl, was pretty special. And Waylon, he's a ham. He's a lot of fun. He's built like a midget wrestler. Got good legs, knee bender.
You're breaking him down already?
Well, we're combining the grandkids now.
Amen to that. Amen to that. It's all about leg strength and core nowadays. How something now you had the good looking body while you were playing, but the core wasn't as important when we were all playing as it seems to be nowadays.
I thought the core was somewhere in the center of the earth.
Yeah.
And the combine, I think, it was kind of like more of a regional combine when I came out, and it was kind of like, hey, how do you feel? They gave you the sign of the cross, and they said, move on. That was really it. And I remember, and I won't say the player, but one of the combines went to another defensive lineman that was coming out. It was me, a kid from Harvard, and this other defensive lineman, and they show you a kind of a big screen, and a lot of images on there. Then they take the images off and they put them back on, and you're supposed to tell them what was missing. And the defensive lineman never looked up. He just looked at the kid from Harvard and the kid and me, and never looked up at the screen and just copied.
That's smart.
Yes.
You got to say something to that. That's smart.
Shows, that's able to adapt.
Well, survive in advance, right? That's
I
the
would,
whole part
I would
of it.
agree. So I don't know how much of this will turn into actual NFL football talk. So 2 kids again. You have your son Chris with the Patriots last year, winning a Super Bowl, in the Super Bowl again. Your son Kyle had a frustrating year this year, no doubt about it, with the injuries and had surgery in the offseason. And obviously you a Hall of Fame player. If you could only have one Super Bowl ring between all of you, would you want it to hold over your kids, or would you want one of your kids to have it and then they can be the smack talker?
Oh, God, no, that's easy. I've been asked similar questions a number of times, and I think, the enjoyment that I got out of watching New England make that comeback in the Super Bowl last year versus Atlanta, and, particularly after Chris playing 8 years in St. Louis and, 3 games a year winning and running out of things to say on Sunday night, totally eclipses anything that, I could have, any enjoyment that I got out of. And I've said this many times. I mean, for me, it was kind of a tortured existence while I was playing. I never enjoyed the moment because it was always on to the next moment. Played well on Sunday. I've got to be great on Wednesday. So you're on to the next thing. But to watch your kids have fun and be successful is everything.
Well, congratulations, because you're certainly doing that. As we said, you have Kyle now doing well with the Bears, and obviously Chris is playing in his 2nd straight Super Bowl. And Howie Long with us, Pro Football Hall of Famer. And to that point, I always thought watching those Rams teams play, because I remember interviewing Chris before he was drafted for NFL Live, and I talked to him, and he said, have you thought about where you want to go? And he's like, honestly, Trey, I'm just hoping I get drafted. I'm like, trust me, you're getting drafted.
Yeah.
He was the 2nd overall pick in the draft. But I thought he was always he and Steven Jackson, to me, always stood out on those Rams teams, Howie, because they were pros. No matter
Steven Jackson.
No matter what the outcome was, you could always see that Chris and Steven were giving maximum effort. And that's all you can ask in a situation, because you never know whether or not it's going to go your way.
Well, it was one of the things that I always preached, and it was taught to me by Earl Leggett, same guy that brought up Michael Strahan, great defensive line coach, was your first play should look like your 80th play, your 80th play should look like your first play. And regardless of what's happening around you, and in many ways I've always said, when I look at film, I don't want to see how you're playing when you're up. I want to see how you're playing when you're down. And they've gone 2-3 tight ends, and they're running the clock out. Who's jumping around blocks? Who's mailing it in? Who's bringing it? To me, those are in many ways the moments that kind of define you. It's fun to watch. He's a guy that in Chris that has always been that way. He was that way in college. He's been that way in professional football. He's a great teammate. He's someone who I think brings a lot of different qualities to your locker room, both in his play on the field and in the locker room and in the community. And as parents, you're always, I've said this a number of times, you hope that you're living the kind of life that your children will, be inspired by, or, and you're teaching. And if you're fortunate, it comes full circle and your son ends up becoming the teacher and inspiring you. And that's certainly the case in this situation.
Howie Long joining us, Pro Football Hall of Famer in 2000. We're talking about his son Chris Long getting ready to play in his 2nd Super Bowl again. Another son, Kyle, who plays offensive line for the Chicago Bears. You mentioned that the conversations on Sunday night can get difficult when he was with the Rams. Talk about your son's the personalities. Kyle Kyle basically seems to he'll throw a punch no matter what in any situation. So,
Mike, I'm telling you, I could have used. You're right. Could have used Kyle Sunday night if he were healthy. I mean, he's got another surgery on Tuesday, 2 surgeries on Tuesday. Sunday night, and you'll appreciate this, Mike, because we're coming back from Chris's. We were at the stadium and we were down there at their after kind of function down there. The Eagles have that our team's never had. There was never kind of a party afterwards,
right?
In the building, and so we're down there, we're enjoying ourselves. We go back to his apartment, hang out for a little bit, and it's about 1:30, and we head back to our hotel, or so we thought. And Philly was in total chaos. Broad Street was just a mass of humanity, and all the roads are blocked, and we can't get back to our hotel. So I asked a cop. I said, we're staying at this hotel, and we can't get there. And he said, your best bet is to park here at the Westin and walk. So we park at the Westin. It's 2:00 in the morning now. And it's Purge Championship night. I mean, there's people on roofs of cars. My head's on a swivel. I've got my bag on my back, and I'm Diane, slide over here. Diane, slide over there. Depending upon what's coming down the sidewalk. But I'm thinking, God, I could really use Kyle here. Because Kyle has a defensive personality, Mike.
Yeah,
there's no question. He sometimes when the switch gets flipped, he's hard to bring back. But,
so where listen, he no doubt he is, and that certainly can help you on a football field. Where I was going with that was you've had to listen. They've struggled in Chicago as well. So how did the conversations go with Chris after games in St. Louis where the struggle as a different personality in Kyle when they're struggling, and you're trying to be the dad as we all are and talking to our athlete sons after tough losses on how to deal with them?
Well, I think you're always pushing it towards it's going to get better. This is going to happen, or next week is going to be better. The offense is going to come around because to be honest, there were a lot of really good defenses in those years with the Rams that were kind of wasted. And maybe next year it's that kind of a conversation. And in Chicago, I think it's number one, it's a great city and it's a great organization, and it's a place that if you win, it's special. It's like Philadelphia, Philly's like that. I mean, gosh, how excited is Philadelphia right now? Chicago is a unique place, and I think they're excited about the changes, and it's never good when a coach is fired or has to move on, but change is part of our game, and it happens every year, and it's certainly happening there. But I think there's an excitement in the building right now, and I like the hire. The offensive line coach is
phenomenal.
Is a guy that I know you're familiar with, and who I respect a great deal. I don't know him, but players are a reflection of their coach, and the players that he pumps out are really fundamentally sound players who play the game the way it's supposed to be played. So I'm excited for Kyle.
Howie, let me just say, you will love Harry Heastand. Yeah. He will get the absolute most out of your son Kyle, and let me tell you, he's going to love the way Kyle plays. That is a marriage made in heaven, so you can definitely rest easy knowing that your son's going to get some good coaching. I'm excited to see that O-line play. It's going to be fun to watch.
Well, some of the hiring that Matt Nagy has done, Mark Helfrich is the offensive coordinator, really interesting.
And Kyle was with him at Oregon, and
right.
I'm familiar with him. He's really smart guy. And a guy that I think will this young quarterback. It's so hard. I think it's the position. We throw the ball more now than ever at every level. Pop Warner, high school, college, but we're doing it all out of spread, and it's all off a wristband, and there's limited reads in the route trees and all without getting too technical. But I think you saw a lot of the qualities that you want in a young quarterback last year in this kid, and I think it's exciting. And I think he's going to make a big jump in his second year, and as they put pieces around him, because quite frankly, with injuries and everything else, he just didn't have a lot of places to go with the ball.
No, there were limited options at receiver, obviously, and they're trying to fix that and hopefully get Kevin White healthy, who hasn't been healthy since he was drafted. So Howie Long with us, Pro Football Hall of Famer. That's your son, Kyle. Looking forward to 2018. There is still unfinished business for Chris. And we've been sort of doing this sort of weird statistic thing all day, Howie, because of Mike Vrabel, who in his career, a linebacker, 12 catches, 12 touchdowns, twice in the Super Bowl. But your son now, Chris.
Mike, did you catch one, Mike?
I had 3 interceptions. And
that young person, whatever he does there, pressing the buttons over there,
Carmine.
It's black and white, but pull it up. My man was he was a monster with the Eagles.
Yeah,
in the classic green.
Yeah, Carmine's going to get punched in the face, Howie. That's going to happen.
He may not be here on Monday.
Mike, I don't think we can punch Carmine in the face.
No, I could just say it, but I won't really do it. Carmine, you're safe.
If it is, it'll be me and Mike Golick Jr. on Monday.
Mike, I know you still have thoughts like this. I remember it was. We're in the green room at the Super Bowl, and this is a funny story that you'll appreciate. And the Patriots are down 28-3, and I had, not that Chris makes his own decisions, but I'm certainly, when he made the decision to pick a team after the Rams, I'm kind of like, well, New England, they've been to this many, division championships and conference championships and Super Bowls, and it was Atlanta, it was Dallas, it was Washington, and pushed him in that direction. And, if there's anything I can help, I can't help him with his biology homework in high school or college, but I could certainly help you with football. And here they are down 28-3, and I'm the worst dad in the world. and Usher, who's the nicest guy in the world, is in our green room with all his Atlanta stuff on, jumping up and down and screaming. And in my mind, Mike, I'm punching him in the face. But as you know, that's where it has to stay now.
Yep.
Well, if that counts, Howie, he's mentally punched me about 30 times in 2 months. Howie, listen, we talked about these odd stats with Vrabel, but your son Chris has a chance to join the most exclusive club in Super Bowl history, and I'm not sure if you're aware of this. There's only 2 players in the Super Bowl era that can say they've won back-to-back Super Bowls for 2 different teams. Ken Norton did it when he won one for the Cowboys and then moved to the 49ers in free agency and won one. And then that same year he won one with the 49ers. Deion Sanders won one with the Niners, and that year went to the Cowboys and the next year and won it there. So that's only happened twice, and now both Chris and LeGarrette Blount have a chance on Sunday to double that club, that exclusive club, from 2 people to 4.
I kid them. I mean, both LeGarrette, who I like a lot, obviously, and very familiar with him from New England. But you look at Chris's record and LeGarrette's record over the last 2 seasons, it's made up for a lot of those losing years with the Rams. Hey, look, let's not. It's early yet. There's a lot of game to be played, and New England is their ability to prepare and force you to do the things that you don't like to do, and get the matchups they want to get, and to play 60 minutes and beyond is well documented. Their ability to change week to week, quarter to quarter, series to series is well documented. They're interchangeable. The I can be you, you can be me. We're all interchangeable. Therefore, with very few exceptions, we're all replaceable. And I think the way they play on offense is it's tough. You sit down and you look at film and you try to kind of get a bead on something you can hang your hat on, but they can change. Look at the stable of running backs and Gronk and Amendola, and Gronk goes down and Amendola plays big. They have guys they're as well prepared a football team as you could possibly imagine. And I'm partial, and I've always said this. I think Bill is the best coach that's ever coached the game, and I think he's a unique guy because I think he can coach every position on the field, and he wears a lot of hats there, and he's going to lose a lot of staff members, but that's what you're up against, and I think Chris knows that, and LeGarrette knows that, and I'm sure the Eagles know that it's going to take a really extraordinary effort to try to beat this football team.
Talking to Howie Long, Hall of Famer, 8-time Pro Bowler, Super Bowl champ with the L.A. Raiders in '83. And speaking of the Raiders, your thoughts, we'd be remiss to not ask you, of John Gruden taking over the Raiders again and their impending move to Las Vegas.
Well, I was there at the press conference, and I spoke to him the Monday night in Philadelphia after the game and just said, are you really interested? And I know there was a lot of speculation that something was already done, and it wasn't. I can tell you that firsthand. But he was reluctant to talk about it because coaches are still in positions, and moves hadn't been made yet. But when I walked into that building for the press conference, the level of energy, it was like a 4.9 on the Richter scale. I mean, the level of intensity in the entire building. And I think the expectation that everyone in the building, from top to bottom, has that same level of enthusiasm, it was really remarkable. And I think it's an energy that I think will I think get the most out of this football team. And in terms of the move, I started out in Oakland. I think the Oakland fans are a remarkable fan base. And even when the team moved to L.A., people were on that whatever flight it was, Southwest or whatever, down to L.A. every week and going to the games. They're a remarkable fan base. And I think for anyone who's ever played in Oakland, I think you would like to see the team there. Unfortunately, there just wasn't a financial way around that. And I think the move to Vegas, is a game changer. The stadium, having gone out there for the press conference and kind of the groundbreaking, and there's a lot of energy there. So I think between the hiring of Gruden and the move to Vegas, and the future looks really bright.
Well, look, the future does look bright for the Raiders in Vegas, and we'll see what happens there with the hiring of Gruden. We loved him when he was here, and I won't say enjoy this coming Sunday, because I know it can be difficult to watch. For what next Sunday, obviously this is the Pro Bowl, but just try and manage the experience with Chris going for a second straight Super Bowl against the Patriots. Howie, we appreciate you being with us this morning. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Howie. See you out there.
Thanks, guys.
All right, and thank you for not punching me in the face.
Yeah. I want to ask him too. So much we talked about to him there. I wanted to ask him, because I want to be called Pappy when I'm a grandfather. I wonder what he's called.
Howie.
No. Do you think that's what his grandkids call him? Howie?
No, I don't know.
Grandpa Howie?
Grandpa
Gramps?
Howie sounds good.
Pappy? I want to be. I want to be Pappy.
Why Pappy?
Pappy, I don't know. I like something about Pappy.
I think you should have a pipe and a big straw hat if you're Pappy.
Okay, I'll do that.
Sitting on a front porch somewhere.
Pipe. Right.
Coming up, we'll get back on the comeback trail. Plus, do you know the saying, let's throw it up on the wall and see what sticks? Mm-hmm. Something stuck, and it's unbelievable.
Real quickly, before we get to Bob Harrigan,
because the Bengals are playing. Yes, I want to be clear.
They are. I asked the all-important question, what is Howie called as a grandfather? Because I'm not a grandfather yet, though Jake and Jenny just got married and soon to have kids, I'm sure. I'm going to be called Pappy. So I mentioned that at the end. I wonder what Howie was called. Howie was nice enough to call back. He's called Paw Paw.
See, I like Paw Paw better.
Paw Paw.
Pappy, I think you have
What's
to be.
What's the matter with Pappy?
Nothing's wrong with it, but I think if you're being called Pappy, you have to be born south of the Mason-Dixon.
Why?
That's a Southern thing. Get old Pappy up here.
I want to be Pappy.
I see. To me, if you're Pappy, you have to have a pipe, overalls with no shirt on, straw hat, and a banjo.
You know what you're doing now?
Yeah.
You're stereotyping.
What?
What do you want to be called?
Trey.
You want your grandkid to call you Trey?
I can't even think about that possibility. Just can't even go there. Can't even go there. You know who else doesn't want to talk about me having grandkids?
Who's that?
Bob Harrigan.
I don't think so.
ESPN golf analyst joins us now on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. Bob, save us from ourselves.
Yeah.
First and foremost, your initial reaction on Tiger Woods' even par round of 72, his first PGA Tour round basically in a year.
Well, hey, good morning, guys. I think it's all about context. If you just look at 72 and 7 shots back and didn't make a putt outside of 4 feet and birdied just one par 5, you'd say that's not real great. But when you put it in the context of his first PGA Tour event in a year and all that he's been through, the back surgery and 4 back surgeries, the latest of spinal fusion, I think it's really good. I mean, I think it's a thing to build on for him. He's put himself in position to make the cut. He gets to play the slightly easier North course this morning, and I think it's good as a good first step back, and what really should be viewed as a longer term comeback.
And along those lines, Bob, we've seen a few of his comebacks and expectations along with them. Does he really seem to have less expectations this time than the other times?
It's interesting how he has handled that. So many times he has, just gone with the stock answer, I'm here to win, and now he's kind of mellowed on that. He's admitted that that he's got to give himself a little bit more time. He's looking at the big picture and recognizing that I haven't competed, I haven't played, I haven't been out here against all these guys who've been playing tournament after tournament. But deep down, when he gets inside the ropes, you see his competitiveness. He gets mad when he misses a shot. I think there's an inner expectation from himself that he can hang in there with these guys. But I think when he steps away from it, he recognizes that, hey, look, you can't just throw yourself back into this after everything that he's been through, and be competing against the best in the world day in and day out.
Bob Herrig with us, our ESPN golf analyst, talking about Tiger Woods' return to the PGA Tour. He tees off at 12:30 today Eastern time from the 10th tee at the North Course, and Bob alluded to it. That's the slightly easier course of the two. The one thing I noticed in watching his round yesterday, Bob, the two-way miss wasn't there, and that's the death to any golfer. It seemed like the miss was really it popped out a little bit to the right, and quite frankly, when Tiger's been playing his best, Bob, he's worked that little fade to his advantage.
No question. Now, he did miss left off the first tee yesterday.
Well, that first tee has vexed him forever.
It's true. I mean, the great stat. He double bogeyed the first hole here 3 times when he won the U.S. Open in 2008. I mean, it's amazing to think he could overcome that. I just attribute that to nerves. Tiger's always had trouble with the first tee shot for some reason, no matter when. But you're right. The missing it to the right, if that's going to be his miss, you take the left side of the course out of play. He was a little sketchy the first 5 holes, and then he got up on the 6th tee, which is a par 5, and it's dogleg right, and he just smashed a fade down there around the corner, and had 230 in and hit a 4-iron onto the front of the green on a par 5. I mean, that was Tiger. That was him. That was that was the jaw-dropping tee shot and a really good iron shot to the green. And the shot that he hit, that he nearly holed out. Patrick Reed said, I hit a 6-iron, he hit a 6-iron, but his went way up into the air. His came off like a pitching wedge. So he still has that ability to awe people, even his fellow competitors, which is still that's the great thing about seeing him hit those kind of shots.
So, Bob, as we hear parts of interviews, and all the talk has been about his game, is there, and I think in a way that's a good thing because at least we don't see it, but you're there for the whole thing. Is there talk about how he feels? How is his back? And how is his health? Is that been talked about? Because it all seems to be just about the way he's playing, which, as I said, is a good thing unless there is talk about his health.
Well, I think it's in the back of everybody's mind, right? Could this go at any time? And I think what we're learning is, Tiger's not been one to be all that forthcoming through all of this. When he had the first 3 surgeries, they were in essence a Band-Aid. He was trying to fix it and hope that it was going to be okay. It didn't take care of the nerve issues that he was experiencing, and he more or less has admitted, he didn't quite know when it was going to come. He wasn't sure if on the downswing he might be in pain or on the follow-through. Now that he's had this fusion, he says the pain's gone. I don't feel the pain anymore. It's just not there. It's now. Are there aches and pains? Is there recovery? Is there prep that he has to go shoot through? Absolutely. But I think you can tell by the power of his swing and the way he walks. I mean, I went to Dubai last year when he withdrew from that. The last official event he played. he withdrew after one round, and he looked 20 years older the way he walked around that course. It was so difficult to even see the way he approached that. He was walking so gingerly, and he was being so careful. And some of the shots out of the rough, you could tell he wasn't going after them. And sure enough, it turned out it just was too much for him to deal with. And he would have to try to recover after playing golf and give himself time to let it calm down and then build back up instead of practicing and preparing. I think now he's able to do the latter a lot more, and that's going to determine a lot if he's able to be successful.
Bob Herrig with us, our golf analyst, talking about Tiger's return. And you're right. You just look at what Jason Day looked like laboring around that course yesterday with his back injury as opposed to Tiger. We certainly hope that continues. Tiger tees off at 12:30 Eastern time on his second round. See if he can get under par and stick around for the weekend as he's 7 strokes behind the leaders right now. Bob, we appreciate you getting up early. Thanks, man.
Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Golic and Wingo here with you. We had a couple of grilled Golics.
We did.
And get to. You want to get to some of those?
Sure, yeah, go ahead.
All right, this one is from Greg. Are you a good steak guy or a good barbecue guy?
Both.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to lean, I've always been a steak guy growing up, but I think I would lean more toward barbecue right now.
Lean toward barbecue?
Yeah, I would lean toward barbecue right now,
okay.
yes.
All right, well, that's the end of that because we'll end it on a food note.
All right.
We've been talking about this, throw it up on the wall and see what happens.
Yeah.
How about this? U.S. Olympic gold medalist Gil Roberts, a member of the 4x400 relay team that won gold in the 2016 Rio Olympics, was suspended in May of 2017 for a positive drug test.
Oh, boy.
That decision was reversed by an arbitrator in July of 2017. On Thursday, after hearing an appeal by WADA, the court arbitration for sport agreed with the arbitrator. And you want to know how it was overturned? You want to tell people?
Here you go.
Yeah.
So his girlfriend was in India for a few weeks before the March test and came down with a sinus infection. A local chemist there directed her to take one capsule of this drug
in India.
Take this one capsule per day, one per day for a period of 2 weeks. The woman, Alex Salazar, continued to take the medicine when she returned to the U.S., breaking the capsule apart and pouring the contents into her mouth and then using water to wash it down. So basically what Roberts is saying that is soon after she did it that one time, he was kissing her passionately.
Good for him.
They even say in the article here, I'll just say it, with tongue. That would be passionately. And because of that, that's why he ingested this banned substance, which is considered a masking agent, and has tested positive for that. And it worked. It was reversed.
Hey. Good for him.
How about that?
Literally on every level. Good for him.
Good for him. She took medicine. He kissed her passionately, tested positive, and got it reversed. This has happened a couple other times.
Amazingly, when I saw the story, I thought of another time it had happened. It happened to a tennis player, a Frenchman named Richard Gasquet, or Richard, as they call him.
Richard Gasquet, is it? I don't know.
Yes, he tested positive for cocaine once, I think in 2009. And he convinced the Independent Anti-Doping Tribunal that he ingested cocaine with a kiss with a woman he had just met.
Yep.
The tribunal panel of 3 lawyers said Gasquet consumed no more than a grain of salt of the drug, and a long ban would be an injustice in a case where there was, quote, unusual to the point of probably being unique, end quote.
Another athlete, Canadian pole vaulter Sean Barber, tested positive for cocaine before the Rio Olympics following a tryst with a woman he met on Craigslist. He was allowed to compete. Brazil said it was after it determined he inadvertently ingested trace amounts of a banned substance through kissing.
Yeah.
You athletes, be careful who you're making out with.
Well, not only that,
All right?
Yeah. So,
I mean, seriously?
So, you know, we also be careful, Mike.
Yeah.
We have to be careful of what we don't want to become.
Yeah.
Apparently, we both did that on this show.
How?
Well, apparently it started with me. This pick tells you what's going to happen.
What's going to happen?
Next year, LeBron James is a Celtic.
Oh,
let's just be clear about that.
Hot take.
That's exactly. I'm channeling my Stu guys.
Hot take.
That's what's happening. I mean, just embrace it. You're telling me that you don't think LeBron James, Kyrie Irving, Gordon Hayward, Jason Tatum, you don't think that team's the best team in the East? He is telling you what he's going to do.
Oh, that's
LeBron James will be a Celtic next year.
The hot take. I like that.
That, of course, was us talking when he picked Kyrie Irving.
Pick Kyrie for his team. That is a hot take. LeBron in green next year for the Celtics.
I may have overstepped my bounds.
You think? But if you think about it, They'd have a ton of 6'7", 6'8" guys. That's for sure.
I immediately regret this decision.
No, that was a great hot take.
Oh, by the way, people are tweeting in.
Yeah.
Hey, I've seen LeBron buying a house in Cape Cod.
Boy.
He's in Back Bay.
Yes. Yes. Let's stick with it until someone way smarter than us debunks it somehow. And then
Very
we'll say,
easily.
That's when I'll say, well, that was Trey's idea.
Thank you. So I'm not a hot taker, and then I went with the greatest, stupidest hot take of all time.
Did.
And then you did this.
What did I do?
You baited Dan Quinn into a Super Bowl guarantee.
For us as a team, that's a long way from now. So we got plenty of work to do, guys. And I hope like hell we are talking this year, a year from now, this week, and we can talk about how cool that would be.
Wow, Dan, did you just guarantee that you guys would be there?
Look at you. Stop it. See what he's doing? You think he's the normal former player he gets. Sorry. He's the radio hot taker in this group, Dan. I'm with you. I'm trying to keep this thing on track. See, so there you go. You're supposed to be the player that does X's and O's and gets what coaches are talking about.
Yeah, I went for the guarantee.
You tried to prod him into a guarantee.
I did.
So we both become the things we hate.
We did.
And it's only 2
what?
months in.
Not going to lie. I hate you more.
I hate me more. Yeah. So that is the popular opinion.
It was like he hate me for the XFL where they're not allowed to put nicknames on their back.
Which may not happen,
by
the way. So that's the other thing. We should have put this up on the poll. What do you think the odds are that the XFL actually takes off in 2 years?
Yeah.
Really, what do you think? He said in 2020, they don't have cities. They don't have a TV contract. All we know is he says there's going to be more. It's going to be more family friendly.
Right.
It's going to be safer and it's going to be shorter, with no details of any of that.
The one thing I brought up and then my son brought up are on different sides, and I get them both. I like the fact that it's 2 years out, so you can do a little more planning than 1 year for the original XFL. So it kind of hurried. 1 year seems like a long time, but when you're putting all that together, it felt rushed. With 2 years, you have a little more time. And to Mike's point, and he's right, in today's society of what's hot right now, what's going on right now, this is 2 years out of sight, out of mind. Where are we in the sports world 2 years from now? So for me personally, I think there is a greater percentage that it never gets off the ground rather than it gets off the ground and becomes successful.
A lot of obstacles to here. I think you may be right. You know who else agrees? That guy who knew your son played football, but you didn't. Is he still
Carmine?
There?
Carmine's last day.
Yeah.
Last day working on Mike and Mike.
Carmine's been a good run. Just want you to know
22 years old, knew Mike played for Notre Dame, did not know.
Wait, did you just say Mike and Mike?
No.
Did I say Mike and Mike?
No.
Who said it? He did.
You
You
definitely
did.
said Mike and Mike.
That's a fine. That's a
Didn't say
fine.
Mike and
Ladies
Mike,
and
did I?
gentlemen, Mike Golick said Mike and Mike. Thanks for watching.
I didn't hear Mike and Mike at
No,
all.
you did. Yeah, you did.